What's up, Taekwondoistas? Welcome to my Taekwondo journey, where I talk about how to use Taekwondo in your daily life and how I navigate my daily life as a martial artist and Taekwondoista. Today I want to talk about the Tony Robbins crewing experience. And as we know in martial arts, we always try to expand our physical, mental, and spiritual horizons. And this was like an excellent chance for me to do that in a non-martial arts setting. So what is the Tony Robbins crewing experience? Tony Robbins is a life coach, business strategist, philanthropist, entrepreneur, best-selling author. He's just a very experienced guy on human motivation, what drives people and what drives the world in general, and how to be a peak performer in your field, how to find your life purpose and be the best version you can be. So that's why I follow him. He has this seminar, this 3.5-day seminar. It actually feels like 4 days, so I think it's like 50-hour seminar called Unleash the Power Within, and he has it many times during the year. And basically people go there and they learn to break through what's holding them back. They learn to do things that are scary for them. They get out of their comfort zone. They basically end up feeling alive and move to a higher state of consciousness, because when you're in a higher state, in a peak state or a higher state of consciousness, you see the world so much differently than other people, and you're able to see opportunities that most people don't see. You're able to break through all your limitations. You're just able to be courageous and take chances. So this is a seminar that lasts about 12 to 14 hours a day, and it's an intense seminar, high energy, everything, but everyone's engaged, everyone's connected, everyone's learning it, and you go through all these processes that you end up being a different person at the end. Well, not a different person, but like a better performing person, a more peak performer, the best that you can be at that moment. So volunteering for that event is called the crewing experience, and while participants go for 12 to 14 hour days, crew members go from 14 to 17 hour days, because we're there to help support the participants go through their experience. We're there to have a space for them to get out all their gunk and to get out all their issues, and to work through everything so that they come out clean and refreshed and more empowered, more resourceful. Basically, we're just there to just support them in their process and anything they need. We do the logistics. Crewing is so variable. It's got a lot of variety for you there. There's logistic work there. You talk to the participants, you greet them, you keep them in a high energy state. You help them see, have you ever been beside a person who is super excited, super positive, and you just feel their energy, and then you feel better because of it? I mean, that's the kind of support that we do. Any kind of support. You just answer any of their questions, make them feel more comfortable, answer the questions about any of the tools that we use. It's just everything. You also have the opportunity to connect with other crew members in ways that I didn't find possible in other settings. This is a very, very unique leadership setting, and it's free. I mean, you volunteer, but you don't have to pay for this. You just go and you give your time, you give your energy, you give your support, and you just give to others so that they feel comfortable and full and filled up, so that when they feel filled up, they are able to give to others as well. So this is what the whole process is all about. It's acts of service, it's leadership by service, and it's something that I really, really enjoy and found is the most important part of leadership today, which is service-based leadership, service to others. So that's what I enjoyed most about the crew experience. So let me tell you a little bit more about what happened all week in the crew experience, my highlights that I want to share and what I learned to you guys. So let's see, when I first joined, I chose a position. I was up in high stands as an usher, and I chose that position because it's a position that requires a lot of certainty. and decision, because there's going to be issues and you're going to have to solve them with certainty, like with decisiveness. I wanted to be more like facing conflict, facing directiveness. I wanted to improve that, because all my bosses used to say, hey, you need to be more certain, you need to be more decisive. Okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that at the Tony Robbins Crew experience. So I got that. I was able to be professional and certain, and that's what I wanted to improve. And I loved that. And what I loved even more is I had a little section. I got to know all the participants there, and some of them did jujitsu, and we talked about martial arts. Some of them had mala beads, and we talked about the meanings of the different stones. And I remember this one gentleman. He was in the special needs section, and we connected a lot. And every day he expected to see me there, and when he didn't see me one day, he's like, hey, where did you go? But I was actually in another section. But we talked, and I asked him, what brought you here to Tony Robbins? And he said, he's a very, very religious guy, like an older religious gentleman, and you would think that he would be very closed-minded and not open to jumping around with everyone else, not open to high-fiving everyone else, but you'd be very, very surprised. He was very open. He welcomed everything. He loved everything like that. And I asked, what brought you here, basically? And he said he wants to embrace the differences in others. He wants to learn about the differences in others. He wants to be open-minded. He wants to improve himself and be better, because he says there's always room for being better, and he wants to be better. He wants to help and serve others. And I'm like, wow, there's a guy who's an older gentleman, totally religious, open-minded, and willing to serve, and willing to learn new things, new techniques, walk on fire, that kind of thing. That it reminded me of that saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I'm thinking, okay, you definitely can, because this guy is proof. There's probably tons of other guys just like him, whether at the conference or not, but it just made me think, wow, okay, that phrase, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, is totally bogus, totally, because this guy just blew everyone out of the water. He's very, very open-minded, very accepting, and willing to learn new things, willing to play full out, and willing to learn more about himself. And I think he got a lot out of it, and he really enjoyed it. So I was very, very happy to see that. Later that night, we did the fire walk, and I had the privilege of being on a fire lane, and I was the celebration person. So I helped remind people to celebrate after a very, very important thing that they did, and you should celebrate after everything, no matter if it's like you finished a report, celebrate, you cleaned up your house, celebrate, you did a workout, celebrate, you got promoted, celebrate. That's what life is all about, and we often forget that, and we go through daily life without doing that, and then we kind of forget where we are, and then we lose our life within our, in our eyes. And the life just drains from ourselves, because life is all about celebration, it's all about joy. And so back to the fire lane. So I know that walking on the hot coals, walking on the fire is very, very pivotal for a lot of people. And I know that there are some wives that come here and they walk across the fire, and then they have this renewed sense of life within them, and they go home to their children and their husbands, and with this new energy, with this new love of life, and it greatly improves their relationships and greatly improves their connection with their kids. And I know that there are many husbands out there that might see this new, joyful wife version, like the greatest version of herself, and feel very grateful that, wow, my wife is back. I have so much life here. I'm so happy that she's happy, and and I'm just sure that relationships would be improved that way, and also could work for husbands. I know that there's husbands out there that come and then they walk on the fire, and they have a new lease on life. And it causes them to change all these things about their lives that wasn't working, because they know how alive they feel and what life means now. And it just brings good to the world. And I just know that there are some teenagers out there also with, battling depression or something. And it could be, the last straw that they want. Someone just says, go to the seminar, go to the event, and then come back and see if you still want to do the things that you want to do to harm yourself. Just go. And I know that there are teenagers that go, and then they walk across that fire, and then they turn around, and then they realize, they look at the world with a new perspective, and they just realize what all they've been missing, what all they've not been feeling. They realize that serving others fills them up inside, all the things that they learn, all the things about life that they learn, what they might realize what they have to give, because they're so powerful. They've walked across fire, everything like that. So it's really, really helpful, and I'm very grateful to be able to see that transformation as people walk across the hot coals, walk across the fire, and they're just terrified in the beginning, and then they turn out, they cross the fire, and then they're completely confident, they're completely happy, they celebrate. We got to do it again as well as crew after all the participants went home. It was totally easy. I just walked across it. So now that you know that you can walk across fire, the idea is, what are you trying to overcome in your life? What can you do? Now that you know that you can do that, you can walk across fire, you can probably do anything. That's the idea for a lot of people. But for me, something in my head, I don't know, I had this belief that, walking across fire is easy. So I just walk across fire. I have a method. I know that Tony Robbins also teaches the method to walk across fire, but I have that same method. I just condense it because I've done it before. And I also do this with Taekwondo board breaking, and that's why I'm able to just burst through the board breaking so easily, because for me the belief is, this is easy, I'm successful, I can do it, let's go. And it's just something I've learned from going to UPW as a participant, and now I get to do it as a crew and share all my unique perspectives. Before we did the fire lane team, our team was super, super special in that we put all of our heads together. Like, every team is different, but we put our heads together and we did a few ohms, like with our feet grounded to the grass. And we just went together and we centered ourselves right before the participants came to increase our energy of love to be able to give to them. And we just said Om, Om, Om a few times, and it was so cool because everyone felt so connected in that space and ready to serve the participants and put that positive, loving energy out to them. And I just know that they felt it, and I know that it made the experience a whole lot better. Let's see, what else? So actually that night I came back home to the people that I'm staying with, and they had no idea what they were doing, because I told them, hey, I'm going to be gone, from 6 a.m. to, 2 a.m. or something like that, 16-hour days. You won't be able to see me, though. I'm not going to bother you. I'm just going to sneak in. And then they were thinking, yeah, right. They're probably going to be back at 8. And then, and then I come home, and they haven't seen me for days, and they're like, "Whoa, you're not lying! What the heck are you doing over there?" And one of the times I came home early. I think it was 12:30 a.m. And they were watching the Netflix Tony Robbins, I Am Not Your Guru. They're watching that documentary, and they're like, I'm trying to figure out what the heck you're doing, So I watched part of it with them, and there was a part where Tony is intervening with a person regarding her relationship. And I felt like they kind of cut that part a little, short. There's probably a huge backstory to it, and my friends didn't understand what was going on. And so I said, hey, they haven't explained the basis behind, the masculine and feminine energy. And then I explained their dynamics there, and they're like, whoa, she told me about a time when she felt so alive when her partner was, in control of the situation, taking care of everything, taking care of her, basically exuding masculine energy, directedness, being focused and present on her. And she felt his love and his giving, and she was open and receiving. And she's like, wow, I remember that experience. That was that made me feel so alive. And then they started realizing all these relationship dynamics in their relationship, and we were talking about that. And after that, they felt very a lot more clear about what they wanted in the relationship, and the dynamics that might lead to not as good interactions. like how to express criticism and stuff like that. I mean, that whole other video, because relationship stuff is very, very complex. But basically, they learned through watching the documentary and me talking with them, like, profound things about their relationship. And I was very, very happy to see that change. And I was very, very happy to see the vulnerability and the story that was shared and everything like that. So I felt like that made a difference in their life, and I was very happy to hear that. As far as the crew, we're like a team, and it was awesome to see each other every morning and do the priming together, get ready for the day together. Let's see, I remember having a conversation with a crew member that was totally awesome, because we were talking about bosses, and I realized that he had the exact same boss experience as me, and I thought that there was something wrong with me, like he was saying, what was he saying? He was saying that his boss used to comment that, oh, you're just an analyst, you're never going to be an analyst, nothing more than an analyst, I want you to be more like a manager. And so when he decides to, be proactive, act like a manager, contribute ideas, start to lead, then his manager would be like, hey, you don't know what you're doing, and like criticizing him, like, I have 30 years of experience, blah, 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 like don't do this. And then he would like cut out everything out of his life, because like he didn't agree with anything that he did, and he kept on saying, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And so this guy would start to shut up, because he doesn't want to be criticized. He doesn't want to say, here, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, nothing you do is ever right. So he just stopped, because everything he did, he would be met with criticism and like yelling and everything like that. And then his boss would start saying, hey, why are you so quiet? Like, you don't contribute anything now because you're so quiet. Like, and then he'd be like, hey, this is not right for me. And then he ended up leaving. But I was like, wow, I didn't know people went through this, because I always felt like something was wrong with me when I would say something, and then it would always be wrong. And then when I shut up, it was always wrong. And I was so happy to see him get in a place where his inputs are valued. And now I know that you belong in a place where you're appreciated, and that you have the room to grow, and you have that space to say whatever you want. Because when you get out of your comfort zone, you learn, and then you become a great manager. You don't become a great manager by just sitting there and being criticized or something. And we were talking about how it's just like, an insecurity of their part. If they're really secure, they would, be comfortable with you trying to, it's like a bird that just got out of an egg. They're like trying to fly, so if you're really secure, you'd be comfortable with that bird trying to fly, and encourage that bird. And if they're not doing it right, just say, hey, this is the way that has worked in the past. What do you think about that? What are your comments on this? This is why we do it this way. This is the benefits that, occur from doing it this way. Something like that, instead of like, oh my God, getting really, really angry at something they do. And then what's funny is if they don't tell you like that they're angry, and then they're just steaming, and you have no idea. So we were talking about this, and I'm like, wow, I had no idea that someone had similar experiences to me, and it was so refreshing. Of course, this was in a previous life, but I hadn't, just revisiting this made me feel exonerated, I guess. Let's see, what else happened that was amazing? A lot of things happened that were amazing. There's another thing that Tony Robbins does later in the seminar, where he goes through your limiting beliefs. You pick them yourself, and then you kind of go through a process of pain, and then push through the limiting beliefs and find out what is the truth, what is the lie. And I think that part of the conference benefited me a whole lot more than the fire walk, because I think I'm a very physical person, so I master the physical, but this is more emotional, and it's harder. It takes a lot of energy, and it takes a lot of, you have to feel it in your nervous system. So this is the part that really transformed me and made me feel so much lighter after after going through it. So I was very, very happy, and one of my favorite parts of the crew experience was to be able to assist the participants going through this, not judging them, helping them deal with their fears, helping them feel comfortable and supported in the process. And I know, like, part of our job was to send out, love, send out loving, supportive energy, and I know that works. And I didn't believe. I said, okay, why does this work? But it does work, because if you're rubbing your hands together, I found, and then you can feel like energy in between them, and you could feel, if you start to press your palms together, and then you feel the energy cords there. So I know that energy is there. So if you're giving love and you're giving light to people, they can feel it. They might not feel it comes from you, but they feel it, and it really, really helps preserve the space for them to feel comfortable to work through the issues. They're very courageous working through these issues, because not many people want to do this. Not many people feel brave enough to work through the issues. So that's a part I truly liked, and probably my favorite part of the crew experience. I was very, very happy to see everyone's joy at the end. They were so, so joyful, and they felt so free. And I think I almost cried seeing everyone feel so light and free, and I can just tell that they're going to use that strength to help other people. And the crew experience was super, super fun. I can't remember what else. Oh yeah, I had the opportunity to go down and sell experiences. I think I found out that I'm an excellent salesperson. I ended up selling easily more than $100,000 worth of experiences. Because I've been through all of those experiences, and I can tell what I was able to ask them, what their needs are, what they're looking for, and I'm able to match them. This is what this program offers. This is what this program offers. This might help you. What do you think about that? And I was able to qualify them very, very, very quickly, because you don't have that much time. They're coming at you like crazy. And, just giving them the confidence to take that next step, because I know it's scary, but once you once you schedule it, it becomes real. And that's just something that I've been through a lot, signing up for the experiences, but I never regretted any one. And it taught me so many things that school education does not teach you about real life: how to manage your time, manage your emotions, manage your finances, manage your business, anything you want in real life. So that is, in a nutshell, the crew experience. It's a high energy state, and I learned that if I can go high energy in freezing cold environments for 18 hours in a day, I can basically do anything. And I don't have to walk across fire to know that, but if you want to walk across fire, I would highly recommend going to Unleash the Power Within when you can. Tony Robbins is getting older, so I would probably recommend you do it sooner rather than later. It's a really, really fun experience. I probably learned more leadership out of that crewing experience than I've had in a long time, and it was a great volunteer experience. I would definitely do it again. And actually came back to practice Taekwondo, and my instructor said, "Hey, why are your kicks looking so damn easy?" Well, maybe because I took a break from it and filled my mind with generosity and compassion, and went back to the martial art, because martial arts are all about compassion, generosity, integrity, everything like that. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you learned something cool, like, share, and subscribe. And I'm looking forward to hearing your stories of how you gave back and contributed to others. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.